Hi guys, welcome to a wonderful session on today we are going to see about an interesting topic. What is the topic about? It's nothing but the corporate governance. Yeah? So what is corporate governance? So over the years we have seen what will happen if there is a weak corporate governance. So weak corporate governance, we know that who are all involved in it? The board of directors, the minority shareholders will be involved, and the regulators. So what will happen to the weak governance? We have seen this effect in the year 2008 and 9. There was a very big scandal has happened, and due to this there was a weak corporate governance. Due to that there was a drop in the market and we faced a very financial crisis on this year. I hope everyone remembers it. So the importance of having a corporate governance is very important, and everyone has to understand why it is so. So today in the sessions we are going to see about what is the corporate governance and who are all involved in it. So we would have a stakeholders, we would be having the shareholders. So who are all they and what are their roles in it? As you know, when you take an investment, okay, we would see whether the company is very good. So we will be seeing about the corporate governance also, how they are doing it, whether it is good or whether they are functioning very good, whether they are following the rules and regulations, and what is their stability. Based on these factors we will be making the investments. Only then the capital market would be on a stable right. So we'll see, let us see the concept of it and about the corporate governance. So corporate governance has been defined as the system of the internal controls and procedures by which individual companies are managed. So whether it is same for all the countries? We have a question, right? Whether the corporate governance is same for throughout all the countries? No, it differs. It differs across the countries, across the jurisdictions also. The corporate governance varies. So who are all influencing by this? So the influences of either the shareholder theory or it could be the stakeholders theory also. It could be on legal, political, and it could be other social and political factors which could influence the corporate governance. So what is the shareholder theory? We have been talking about shareholder and stakeholder. Is there any difference between a shareholder and a stakeholder? So shareholder theory takes the view that most important responsibility of a company's manager is to maximize the shareholder returns. So every company works towards maximizing the shareholder returns. Then what is the role of the stakeholders then? Stakeholders are going a little bit ahead of the shareholders. They look into the broad, a company focus beyond the interest of only its shareholders to its customers, and it looks in for the suppliers, it looks in for the employers and others who have an interest in the company. If I say government, is the government interested in a company? Obviously yes, because they are holding the public interest. So what does the company does for the public? That is very important. So stakeholders are all these things. It comes to the customers, it comes to the suppliers, it comes to the employers, and other government regulators come under this. Next, how is the company strategy set up? So everyone has a question. Yeah, I formed a company and who are all this and how my strategy would get affected? Yeah, so the strategy is framed by the board of directors. The board of directors who are all management, overall management is done by the board of directors. Then comes the strategy. Who is executing the strategy? Does the board of directors does? No. He will be framing the strategy and the strategy is executed by the managers. Okay. Then comes the financial capital. So the financial capitals, it is done by the company activities, and the operations. All the operations is supplied by the shareholders, creditors and suppliers, and other shareholders as we told about, it is the government and regulators. Now, a very good question is to you now. Which statement regarding the corporate governance is most accurate? Now I'll give you 2 minutes, you can just check it out. The options are A, most countries have similar corporate governance regulations. The option of B, a single definition of corporate governance is widely accepted in practice. And C, both shareholder theory and stakeholder theory considers the needs of a company shareholders. So which are these from these options are right? A few minutes to you to answer those questions. I think now you would have judged your answer, right? And the answer is both these shareholders and stakeholder theory considers the needs of a company's shareholder. If you go for why the options A and B are not right, let us see the justification. Most countries have similar corporate governance regulations. I told it differs from countries to countries and jurisdictions also. So the answer is wrong. So the option A is eliminated. Now coming to option B. A single definition of corporate governance is widely accepted practice. No, it differs from area to area as I told. So only the option C is correct. So we go ahead with that. Only shareholders and stakeholders theory considered the needs of a company shareholders. Okay. Now let us go to the next one. So, company stakeholders about its group, are these groups having a similar goals? Yeah, we have seen many stakeholders, right? So, are these groups are having a similar goals or not similar? We need to check out, and what is the conflict of interest is happening between these. So, the first one we take the stakeholder groups. We have shareholders, we have creditors, managers, employers, board of directors, customers, suppliers and government regulators. And what is the agent relationship between these two? So we know that there is a relation between the shareholders and the manager. There is a relation, and what is the conflict it is rising between these two? Yeah, and shareholders and managers, directors relationship, and what is called as a controlling and minority shareholders, relationship managers and board relationship, shareholders which is creditors interest and stakeholder conflicts. So what is the difference? What is the conflict of interest arising between these two? Because everyone's are working towards a goal, right, for the company's interest, but there is a conflict between these two. Let us look into it. What are these conflict and what is the relationship they have it? So first of all, let us look into the shareholders. Who are called as the shareholders? Yeah, I am owning a share of the company and I am entitled to receive the rights, dividends and votes on the corporate issues. Yeah. Next one, juniors of capital providers. They receive the products after all the creditors are claimed. So why we call this as junior creditors? When you take, I am providing a credit to a company, what will happen? I'll be getting my first claim, right? And I'm a bondholder. What should I get it when the company goes on loss? Yeah, I'll be getting my claim. But what will happen to the shareholders? They are the last person who gets the claim. Okay. Next comes, what is the power to elect the board of directors and votes for specified resolution? I'm going for a mergers, or I'm going for a takeovers, or I'm going for an expansion or any replacements of the projects, right? So what should I do? I'll be applying for it, right? So I should be getting the permissions from the shareholders. So there is a minimum vote should be there, about 60 to 75%. If the voting is not there, I cannot claim for it. So these votings comes under the shareholders. So shareholders will be having the rights to decide on it. Okay. Next one, are these same for a private and public limited companies? For public limited companies, we have a different setups. Here the power is distributed to large number of shareholders, is getting distributed, and the controlling shareholders will be there and there will be a non-controlling shareholders. So the shareholder portions, if it is held by a group of investors, we call them as a controlling shareholders. Thank you.